You can see me with glasses and paper in my hands because today is a special day. Let me welcome you to the conversation segment of the Signature Show this Sunday. Last week, we focused in a special story on the matter of Mesoma Ejikeme. This Sunday, we are returning to that tough, may not be that issue, but that tough, and that is the tough of education. In this tough of education, we'll examine the concept of Mesomaism. We should know why we call it Mesomaism. Because there are too many factors, there are very many factors in fact, involved in the issue we raised last Sunday. Some of these issues include: at what age should our children be allowed to go to the universities? Why do we rush them? Are we creating the right environment for learning and for teaching? The admission process that gets a child into Nigerian university versus the admission process that gets a Nigerian into university abroad. The two admissions, are they the same? Should they be the same? Are there challenges? Is one better than the other? When we scrapped the higher school certificate examination to allow our children to move in from O-level right into the universities, were we right? Did we think over it quite deeply? Then, the assessment methods. Just a minute. Once upon a time in this country, there were the essays. Questions are set, the child expresses himself or herself to the answer. Today, we use objective. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alternatives. It could be A, it could be B. Some say it is gamble. A child can say, let me be ticking A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. Maybe at the end of the exam, he has ticked right. And it does not necessarily mean he knows it. We dwell on these issues. And this afternoon, pardon me, is age not coming? Pardon me to use my glasses. I'm having a conversation with Saheed Oladele. Saheed Oladele first is a product of University of Ibadan. They say Nigeria's #1 university. Let me agree with them. Again, he holds a first class. You don't get it by chance. He also holds a master's degree. Saheed Oladele is an education expert. He provides specialized education to fill the gap between when a child leaves secondary school and when a child goes into the university. Special preparation. We'll look at all that. Saheed is the Chief Executive Officer of Erudite Millenium Limited. Erudite is based in Ibadan, Nigeria. So we dragged him all the way from Ibadan to Abuja to hold this conversation because we think it's important to us. Saheed, you are welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much, sir. Good to have me.
It's a pleasure, Saheed. Let us even start from the basic. I'm sure that within the Nigerian environment in the past 1 week, 2 weeks now, you have followed, at least you've read, you've heard of the incident of a young girl, 19-year-old, from Anambra State, who had 249 score in her JAMB result, which is a fair enough grade. But then she went ahead and manipulated her result to get a grade of 263, making her the highest scorer in the country. You've heard it. That comes from a mindset. that comes from an education process that produced an attitude. What word do you have for that?
Well, thank you very much. I'm grateful to be here today. The case of Mesoma, I'm sorry I'm not an Igbo person. I
Yeah,
do
you are
not
in
know
Nigeria, so just go
how to.
ahead.
The case of Mesoma shows the rot in our society. I cannot blame the girl alone. I'll blame the system that has produced the girl. You don't just blame such a girl. She has parents. She has people around her. She's a product of a particular environment. All these are factors that contributed to the wrongdoing of the girl. I would condemn any form of exam malpractices, any form of forgery. I can never and have never been a party to that. So I would want to first advise Ms. Soma to not try anything of such in future. So to err is man, to forgive is divine. If everybody sees that she has become a changed person, nobody will be tormenting her with her past. We consider this to be her past already, but she should sin no more. So that's just about that. I've said that we should not blame the girl alone. I blame our society because I also want to blame our system. If our system is not loose, she shouldn't have been able to achieve that because it took time before she was caught. She has made people believe that she actually got a 362, which she did not get. So it shouldn't have taken much
All this
time.
noise making before we apprehended her.
All these would have been preventable. All this would have been preventable. Let me give you an example. A Nigerian was writing GRE, his graduate record examination. You know that COVID-19 changed a lot of things around the world. So IELTS, British Council had to introduce what they call IELTS Advantage in case you cannot go to the center. GRE introduced something of such. TOEFL, all those foreign exams. Somebody was now taking GRE in a particular office where there should be nobody. Unfortunately, there was a sheet of white paper. Nothing was on it. And that exam was cancelled by ATS immediately. There should have been some red flags. We shouldn't wait till something now degenerates into discussions,
As we are
accusations,
doing this out.
tribal, all those things. They are unnecessary. So I want to advise the Nigerian government to also check and tighten our system. And number two, Ms. Soma went to a particular cafe to do this. They can claim that they do not know. They can claim that they do not know. So if they do not know, fine. But if they were also a party to it,
Complicit.
if they were an accomplice in it, then we should also punish them. We shouldn't just punish Ms. Soma because there should be a deterrent. That should be a deterrent factor to other Nigerians. Many people are running cafes. Many people are into such businesses. Some people are the ones building the apps. You understand? And that's why I enjoyed what you termed it, Mesomaism. There are lots of players in the matter. What happens to the owner of the cyber cafe? What happens to the builder of the application? What happens to our system? Why should we have a notification? Thank God that Jam has dropped that already. Why should we have a notification or anything that can be easily forged by Nigerians to the point of believing it? To the point of believing it. That means that our security is not tight enough. It's not tight enough. So I don't blame Ms. Soma only. She's blameworthy, and I've condemned that attitude, but I blame other factors.
Okay, let us leave Mesoma. Let us look now at the core issue of education in Nigeria. You are you provide you fill a gap.
Yes.
When the child has finished school certificate and wants to get to the next level, either seeking admission into the country or outside of the country, you provide a service.
Yes.
Now, please, first, why was it necessary to provide that gap, that service? What did you notice?
I noticed a gap. And that gap that we noticed, we felt the need to bridge the gap. A lot of people don't even know about gap year. I've asked in many secondary schools, what is a gap year? Why do we have gap years around the world? In the US, they have their gap year. In the UK, they have their gap year. Here and there is a student in my school now who came all the way from Houston. She's going back to the US this weekend, but she's not going to the US. She's going to Cambridge. There's a program called Reach Cambridge. So if you're a parent listening to this program, it's an opportunity for you. Your child can also key into that. There's a program called Reach Cambridge. So you go there if you want to become a doctor. So there is like a mini medical program that would give you some pre-knowledge of what you are getting into. You may decide to subscribe to 2 weeks or even a month. That's a gap year. The fact that a year does not mean it has to take a year. The gap year is very, very important. Why is the gap year important? Number one, these children first need to be mature. So that's one, beyond the four walls of a secondary school. Number two, they need to build some skills. Why does Harvard have a gap year? Why does Cambridge have a gap year? Why do these institutions have gap years? Because they know that it is not so good transiting from secondary school and just getting into the university. But that is the dream of many parents in Nigeria, unfortunately. Some of them cannot even wait for their children to finish WAEC or WASC or NECO when they're supposed to finish it. They will ask them to write GC from SS2 and then move, if possible, move to the university from SS2. They will now say, my child is brilliant. It is not only your child that is brilliant. There are many other brilliant children. And there is a place of experience in whatever we do. We wanted to bridge that gap. Gap year wasn't popular in Nigeria. So we want to make gap year popular. Number two, we want parents to see the reasons why their children should go through a gap year. So number three, we feel that we can mentor them during the gap year program. We can mentor them. We can get them to see how to do things better and the better things that they need to do. So this was the gap that we recognized, and that is why we set up the Erudite Millenium Limited. We have been helping a lot of young Nigerians through the gap year program. And I'm so happy that our dream has been coming to pass. So as I speak with you, I cannot just count. Maybe when we get along in the conversation.
Father, I was trying to use this gap year thing for us to address the duration of education before university in Nigeria. If you listen to my introduction, which I'm sure you did, before the Civil War, if I can remember, in Nigeria in 1966, 67, the aspiration for those of us who were in Eastern Nigeria, and for some of us who had our schoolmates in Siemens Grammar School in Lagos, it was, you finish secondary school, you go into HSC, higher school certificate. Those 2 years, one, enabled you to mature mentally, keyed you into the next level of whichever subjects, areas you were interested in. And then if you entered university, many things were not strange to you. But today, a child moves from secondary school into hardcore reasoning in the university. Do you think that we injured the progression in our education to university by removing the high school certificate? Today, today people talk about direct entry. Yes. Direct entry is supposed to be something preparing you above school certificate. Do you think we injured that progression?
I like the word injured. We truly injured the progression. I am going to give some examples today that a lot of people should agree with me on. Number one, what is the age of entering university in the United Kingdom? I think it's a relevant example.
Very, very relevant.
So they expect you to enter university in the United Kingdom at the age of 18. Why is Nigeria's different? Why should our children be entering the university at the age of 16? Do you know that some parents are even defaulting that 16 years as a requirement for admission in Nigeria? The child has finished, like we have a child in our school now that came in at the age of 14. He had already left secondary school at the age of 14. So I now advise the parents, for the next 2 years, forget about university admission. So unfortunately, some private universities, maybe because it is money that they are interested in, they don't care. Some of them are very disciplined. They will still not take you if you are below 16. The 16 years that we have even set is too is too early in life to go to the university. That is number one. Number two is that in the United Kingdom that we are copying, or we have copied. So in the United Kingdom, you can't get to the university until 18, but minimum 17. I'll break it down. Okay, at the age of 15, you are in grade 11. At the age of 16, you are in grade 12. Then at the age of 17, you are in A-level class. So that means at the end of your A-level class at 17, you are going to the university at the age of 18, which is fair enough. Nigerians are missing a whole lot. Nigerians that do not allow their children to pass through maybe the A-level system or the gap year system, they are missing a whole lot. I'm still going to come to some of the things you mentioned. The assessment that we do, the type of questioning, the reasoning, the thinking skills. So we need to talk about all of that once and for all. But what I'm saying is that parents should learn to let the children's brains mature. Your children should be mature enough before going to the university, because a lot of people are blaming the kind of graduates that we are churning, our universities are churning out. What do they expect? What do they expect? Somebody has gone to the university very quickly without learning anything beyond all the lacram lapo is coming with from secondary school. Get to the university, just study to pass, get to the society. What will the person do in the society?
Let me come in here,
okay,
because you just mentioned something of interest to me, and that is the quality of the products of our education system, especially at the university level. I'm an employer now, and I know how many graduates that we battle with come, go, or you are suffering every day trying to knock that graduate into shape, into being useful. And there are thousands of them in society. Can we converse briefly on the quality of the products of our education system?
Okay.
And what could be responsible? Okay. Americans, as I said to you earlier, said to us, those who spread peanuts bring in monkeys. In other words, when we pay very low salaries to our teachers, we bring in poor quality people. Would you think it's part of the challenge? The content of it as designed, do you think it's part of it? And then the assessment method. A child leaves university and he cannot write logically. What is the challenge from your own experience?
Okay, thank you very much. Number one, our products, the products from our universities are not, majority of them are not employable. If I want to borrow the words of Professor Charles Soludo, when he was CBN governor, he said over 60% of our graduates are not employable. I agree with him. In fact, okay, he already said over 60%, then I agree with him, because I wanted to even put it at maybe 80%. The kind of graduates our universities are churning out, they are not fit for the workplace. And I will give you some reasons. Number one is the fact that reasoning is far from our curriculum. That is number one. Reasoning is far from the Nigerian university curriculum.
Logic absent. Coordinated presentation absent.
Absent. So that is number one. Number two, the so-called lecturers are not updating their knowledge. Imagine a lecturer, an old lecturer, who keeps using the same notes for 20 years or 25 years. Somebody did not tell me. I was a victim of that. Somebody bringing the same note. The note has turned brown. And the lecturer keeps bringing that to class to teach.
After 25 years.
After 25 years. Are we saying nothing has changed? So there is no new input into the body of knowledge? So that is the second problem. Even the so-called lecturers are not updating their knowledge. Number 3, there are no facilities. There are no facilities. People are rushing outside the country. I am not a fan of telling people to be desperate to study outside the country. If somebody is advertising Ghana, Nigerians are going to Benin Republic. I am saying this painfully, very, very painfully, because I feel like crying. What does Benin Republic have to offer Nigerians with their mushroom universities, with buildings like shops? There are fast-track programs in Benin Republic. So, what are we saying? If Nigerians can be rushing Benin Republic, if Nigerians can be rushing Ghana, that is the height of desperation. That is unimaginable. So, I have mentioned the fact that reasoning is far from our university curriculum. I've mentioned the fact that our lecturers don't update their knowledge. Number 3, there are no facilities. There are no facilities. Let me use myself as an example. I am a linguist, but if you study linguistics in some other parts of the world, you will know that linguistics is different from linguistics. And I make bold to say that the linguistics that many universities is offering in Nigeria is traditional linguistics. When you keep teaching syntax and morphology, phonetics and phonology, sociolinguistics, pragmatics, semantics, semiotics, that is all you have got to offer. When the word linguistics is already talking about clinical linguistics, when the word linguistics is already talking about forensic linguistics, when the word is talking about computational linguistics. There was a time I wanted to go for a professional master's in computational linguistics, University of the Washington, D.C. People from different disciplines converge, and before you finish, Google is there to employ you. Microsoft is there to employ you. What's the name of this international business? IBM is there to employ you. Apple is there to employ you. But what are the requirements? They said before you can come and do this master's, you must have adequate knowledge of Java. You must have adequate knowledge of Python. You must have adequate knowledge of HTML, CSS, and other programming languages. As somebody that just finished from linguistics in Nigeria, I just moved back. That was why I didn't go for that program. That was why. So that is what the word is talking about, psycholinguistics. The word is talking about neurolinguistics. That is my own field.
Applicability of knowledge.
Of knowledge. You can imagine language and the nerves. What is the connection? That formed a new field of knowledge called neurolinguistics. Language and the psyche, psycholinguistics. Language and the computer, computational linguistics. Using language to detect crimes, forensic linguistics, and so on. Clinical linguistics. People that have speech problems. As a competent linguist, you should know, if somebody does not know how to pronounce the R, you should know that probably something is wrong with the person's alveolar region or the palato-alveolar region. You should know all of that. Linguists are needed in the hospital, but not the kind of linguists we are producing in Nigeria.
Let's come back. Thank
okay,
you
I think I am taking too much time.
Yes,
Should I continue mentioning the factors?
Thank you. Let us come back to a matter that is ailing us. You know, I had mentioned tangentially the matter of how long a child stays in school. In very short, very briefly, do you think we should reintroduce A levels and address it with direct entry into Nigerian universities?
Yes, I want to encourage Nigerian government to reintroduce something like the HSC. UK cannot be wrong. Canada cannot be wrong. All this, even the US, there are some ages that the US will not take into their university. If these universities in the US, if these governments, if they have seen the reality, why is Nigeria not doing the same thing? Why? I was in Dubai last year, and I went to their best university in Dubai to ask about entry requirements. And they told me that we are sorry, we don't reckon with anything WAEC. They told me point blank. They said they only reckon with 3 systems. And I will mention those 3 systems. They said the American system, the British system, and the IB system. IB is International Baccalaureate. All these 3, they are A-levels. The British system they are talking about is Cambridge A-level. The American system is advanced placement. They call it advanced placement. And then the last one is International Baccalaureate. If you want to enter Harvard, a university like Harvard, you want to gain admission to Harvard and some other Ivy Leagues, they will tell you that you should go and bring a CGPA of 4.0 over 4.0 or 3.96 or 3.95 over 4.0. Where do you want to get that? Sincerely. But some schools will now say, go and bring 4.5 or 4.2 over 4.0. I know you'll be confused. How can you bring 4.2? You are telling somebody to go and bring 120 over 100. That is the meaning. But I will tell you the reason. They have factored their A levels into their system. If you are bringing your SS1, SS2, SS3 transcripts, you cannot go beyond 4.0. Depending on whether everything is A's, A plus, or B's. That is over 4.0. But if you have done A levels, that is extra 1 point. So if you pass your A level at a distinction level, you can have, and you have all A's from SS1 to SS3. What are you going to have? 5 points, 5 points over 4 points, over 4 points. So let's now say you passed at the level of, let's say, B, and you now have 0.6 over 1.0 A level. By the time they add 0.6 to 3.5, once you move to 4.1, that means you are on 4.1 over 4.0. It is part of their system already. People should go and find out. So I want to encourage the Nigerian government that the gap here is very, very important and should be taken very importantly if we want to solve our problems. But one major thing we also need to do is curriculum review. They have been reviewing curriculums, but unfortunately we are still where we are. Let me give you an example.
Can you use it to also address the system assessment method?
I will go there.
Please.
I will go there. I will go there. Look at the subjects under WAEC. Subjects in WAEC, subjects in NECO. Now compare those subjects with subjects in IGCSE. You will see the difference. Under IGCSE and Cambridge A level, there is what they call thinking skills. It's a subject that you can take. They have thinking skills. Secondly, there is a subject called psychology at ordinary level. Psychology. That is number 2. Number 3, they have another thinking course that you can do. But all those ones are irrelevant to me. You cannot do Cambridge without having your thinking cap on because it has to do with reasoning. You can ask people that run Cambridge A-level schools. They will tell you about students coming with A1s in WAEC, but failing in Cambridge. Brilliance at WAEC level does not automatically translate to brilliance at Cambridge A-level, American placement level, or International Baccalaureate level, because these exams are dependent on logic, on reasoning, on thinking, on critical thinking.
Now, the assessment method in these examinations I mentioned,
I've always had problem with that.
are they objective?
I have always had problem with that. I've said that on many media, many interviews, platforms that I've been invited to. I am not a fan of, it will be like I'm talking down on my country. I'm so proud of this country. And that is why I'm still in this country. But when it comes to setting the record straight, I will not shy away from the truth. WAEC is not doing the right thing. People can claim that WAEC is not just a Nigerian thing. Yes, I agree. But Nigeria has influence when it comes to WAEC. And NECO is also following what WAEC is doing.
Examination bodies.
So what are we saying?
JAMB is objective.
You are asking me to mention. Why should it be difficult? Even a dollar can mention. Even a dollar can mention. If you're asking me to list, even a dollar can list. You're asking me to define. Even a dollar can memorize definitions. That is not how to ask questions. And these examination bodies need to sit down and review their ways. Very, very important. Because if we do not get it right, this is how we are going to keep complaining. Let me give you an example. Recently, somebody brought his child from Newcastle to our school in Ibadan. So he now requested specially that we should do psychology for the boy, considering the system he was coming from. So we employed the first psychology teacher. He saw the syllabus, Cambridge syllabus. He ran away.
Oh, the teacher ran away.
The teacher ran away. So we employed the second one. The teacher ran away. We have called the third one now. He has not even come. We don't know whether he's going to take up the job. Because once they see the content
of the syllabus,
as
against what they were taught.
These are graduates of psychology, not graduates of philosophy. They are running away. So our assessment has to be assessed. Our review needs to be reviewed upwards, not backwards. And we should stop recycling questions. When you keep asking people to mention, discuss, define, you will get to the end, you will be limited. But give them something that will make them think. Yes, you will now see what Nigerians are capable of giving.
Their capacity to reason.
The capacity. Nigerians are very good. We are very brilliant. The system is limiting us. So the assessments, whether WAEC, whether NECO, whether JAMB, I have problem with that.
Okay, because I'm also I keep getting my signature to manage the time well. You know, admissions. Okay. That's one of the issues I raised at the beginning of this conversation. Yes. People rush for admission to foreign universities as against wanting to enter, and you have been in this gap provision, preparing people for admissions. Yes. I'm going to put two issues into one question. Our young people, our young families are here busy wanting their children to go overseas, to go to UK, US, blah, blah, blah. Admission to Nigerian universities versus admission abroad. Keep that as one question. The second, in the course of this conversation, you've given two examples, and I was just listening to you. A parent in a country bringing his child to your school. Yes. A parent in UK, a parent in US, parent in Saudi Arabia bringing their child. What were they looking for? And therefore, what do you think is driving the quest for Nigerians to want to go overseas? Two questions in one.
Okay, thank you very much. I would want to say that the quest to study abroad is caused by our government. Incessant strikes, lack of facilities, lack of quality teachers, and many, many other factors. So I am not against anybody that wants to study abroad. What I'm against is somebody traveling purposelessly. You know, there is Jackpot syndrome now. So I am not fully in support of that. I believe in Nigerians traveling honorably. If you want to travel, travel for studies, travel for conferences, travel abroad to work abroad because you are very good. There's something in you that they need. A professor called me about 1 hour or 2 hours ago. He told me how the Saudi government values him there. He said after finishing medicine in Unilag, he went to South Africa, did postgraduates, became a professor, and is also a consultant, a medical consultant. How do you feel that such a person will not be valued? They placed him above their citizens. That is the kind of traveling I want Nigerians to be doing. Not that you will now go and be spoiling the good names of other Nigerians abroad in the name of Japaism. Let me just stop there. Now moving to education. The best way to be educated today is to go abroad. I'm saying that. The best way to be educated today is to go abroad. But if you want to go abroad, don't be crazy about it. Where Benin Republic is not abroad. Though it's abroad linguistically. But technically it's not abroad. Ghana is not abroad. All those countries are not abroad. I am not an advocate of just any country. My number one country is the US. My number two country is Canada. My number three country is the UK. My number four is Germany. My number five is Australia. I select where I tell people to go. And even in these countries, I am not interested in just anyhow university. If you must leave UI, because UI is also doing well, Unilag is doing well. All these universities. Okay, UNN is also doing well.
No, Saheed. Please, I'm a product of Nigeria's foremost cosmopolitan university.
Which is?
Unilag for sure.
Unilag, okay. No problem. Okay, Unilag is doing well after UI. So Unilag is doing well.
Don't you say that again.
Okay. So, for you to leave UI, OAU, Unilag, UNN to go to a school in the US, UK, those schools must be worth it. Any school you want to choose must be worth it. It is not any university that you can go. UI is maybe number 400. I think Unilag is there. This school in Otta, Covenant University, is also on the list. There are universities within the UK that are not
on the list.
On the
list
top
of
1,000 list. So, what's your business in such a university? So, if you are going to the US, a single state in the US has up to like 30, 40 universities. Some universities are down.
The ladder.
They are down the ladder. Don't go to such universities. There are some funny universities abroad. We are not saying that. So if you want to go to university, try a university like Harvard, try MIT, try Stanford, try Pennsylvania, University of Pennsylvania, and many other universities. And if it is in Canada, Toronto is there, University of British Columbia is there, Oxford is there, Cambridge is there, Manchester is there. These are universities, but Nigerians will be running away from those universities, and that's why if some of them come back to Nigeria, they may even
not measure up to the boys who are produced from these local universities.
The major reason why I'm advocating study abroad is practical. If you now go to a wrong university over there, by the time you come here, you cannot come and do anything that is special. So then why did you have to waste your money going abroad? So I would say Nigerians should go abroad, but abroad is defined. And the university within the abroad is also defined. So that's about that. Now you just asked a question. Why are people bringing their children from the US, from the UK to Erudite Millenium Limited in Ibadan? Well, number one is the fact that what we are doing it in a special way. What do I mean? Cambridge A level that is done for 2 years in the UK, because we have a lot that we have packaged into our own 1 year. So the Cambridge A level that they are doing for 2 years in the UK, we do it for 6 to 8 months in our own school. Just 6 to 8 months. Then after that, you are...
No, I want to abridge you. How are you able to achieve that? Just calmly tell me how, because that is...
You know, Nigerians are special. Nigerians are special. So, if we do what the Western world is doing for 2 years, if we do it for 6 to 8 months, it should not surprise anybody. In fact, the boy that they just brought from Newcastle already did the first 1 year of Cambridge. But when the father saw our own students, 2 of them with very excellent results, and they said they did just 6 to 8 months, the father said it was impossible. So, after that, the father of one of them now said, it is true. He had to withdraw his own child from there and brought him to Nigeria. So what we are saying is that we have a lot that want our students, that want Nigerians to achieve before they go to the university. Do your Cambridge A level, finish it. Do SAT. SAT is Scholastic Aptitude Test. Do SAT. Do either TOEFL or IELTS, still within the 1 year. And 3 solid months. We want to give you 21st century skills. What do I mean? Many of our graduates are not fit for the work.
No.
So we want to catch this one young. What our students can do, many graduates cannot do it. I am not making any mouth. One of our students was in the news last week on Thursday for winning British Council's Country Best Award. That girl, that thing, because she's a teenager, when she finished our 3 month program, we call it Fourth Industrial Revolution Program. When she finished it, she built a weather forecast app. She did not only build that, she cloned a website for learning, not for illicit activities.
Not for mesmerism.
Yeah, not for mesmerism. So she cloned a website. She built a bank app within 3 months, because we have packed a lot of things.
Yeah. Saheed, let us not begin to advertise your institution. Let us situate this into our education network in total. How can we build these skills into general education system?
Okay, thank you very much. It is not bad. Kenya has done that already. So, and even the United Arab Emirates that I went, that university saying they only take 3 systems: US,
Yes.
American, British, and international.
Yes.
So one of the requirements is Python. They're asking for Python, and they're asking for one other programming language. And also, there is another placement test that you will also do. It is not so easy, but once they give you admission, it's full scholarship. Even if you want to study medicine.
Now, do our education managers understand? Can they see that my own generation's method of acquiring language should now go to the archives and let us begin to speak the computer language, even if I'm going to read woodpecking?
That is the way to go. No matter what you want to study today, you need knowledge of ICT. I am using this medium to call on the Nigerian government to please, in the process of reviewing our curriculum, they should introduce a subject, if there is none for now, they should introduce a subject that will be called ICT, and they should make it compulsory. Whether you want to study medicine or you want to, no matter what you want to study. So you are going to have some foundational skills. Data processing, no, that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about real ICT that will introduce them to programming languages. So if you attend some international schools in Nigeria, right from grade 6, grade 7, they are introducing their students, their pupils, to all these programming languages. They are not big deal. So any system that is putting ICT behind, the system is behind, which is a big problem. Let me quickly tell you what we packaged into our Fourth Industrial Revolution program, so that if anybody wants to clone it, it's a free word. So 8 to 10, we do Python programming. 10 to 11:30, we do artificial intelligence and machine learning. So after that, we do web design, web development. After that, we do digital graphical design. After that, we do UI, UX. So, and some other things. Imagine somebody learning that back to back for 3 months. It's like a 24-hour program, because after leaving class 4 p.m., there are loads of assignments for you, because you must do things that we must see.
Okay.
And you are going to defend it.
I'm shorting this conversation. I'm closing it almost, but there's something important I will not leave. I said in the course of our conversation this afternoon that those who pay peanuts,
Yes,
they will get monkeys. Please, what is your position on the remuneration that we give to our teachers? Because when I spoke with you on telephone, I said in Japan, in China, which other country? Sweden, I think, teachers are the highest paid public servants. And the consequence is that they attract their first classes, and nobody gives what he does not have. The first classes give what they have. But here in Nigeria, the first classes, because of the peanuts, are attracted to the banking industry, are attracted to the oil companies, are attracted to the international NGOs, and with all due respect, the fallout, the dregs, go for remedial and become the professors. And what you have is what you give. Do you think that's a necessity to have a second look at what we pay to our teachers?
Well, I've always said it. Teaching is not attractive in this country.
Shouldn't it be?
And that should be the most attractive profession. Because they make the doctors, they build the professors. No matter the discipline, no matter what is working right in this country, it is a product of teachers. I don't now know why some state governments will still be paying 50,000 naira, 60,000 naira, 70,000 naira. A friend of mine just resigned from a university. He has run to Sweden. I felt so sad about that. So, I have another friend that has told me that he wants to leave a federal government lecturing job. So teaching at any level in Nigeria is not attractive. And they cannot get quality hands if the situation remains. If you want them to give their best, you really need to encourage them. So many private institutions are getting very good hands because some of them can pay well. If you can pay me well, I would, even when you don't ask me to do something, I will do it.
I'm motivated.
I'm motivated to do it. I will even do beyond your imagination. But when I am just getting paid what cannot even cater for me alone, let alone my wife and my children and the extended family, then so it's a major problem. So I would like to advise the government to please do something about what they pay our teachers. I would also like to advise parents, Nigerian parents, not to be a part of any form of malpractice, any form of forgery, or anything that can embarrass the country. I would also advise them not to rush their children to the university. Your children should not rush to the university. Let your children build skills. 21st century is about skill building. It's not about degrees. It is about skills, not about degrees. Because sooner or later, in fact, we are getting to see it now, people piling up certificates and having nothing to do with those certificates. So I want to encourage you, don't rush your child to the university. Let your child take a gap year. Your child doesn't have to come to Erudite, even though Erudite is the best in Nigeria. But your child,
that is what you said.
No, there is no doubt.
Okay.
No, people should bring out their records. We are doing Cambridge A level. We did from 6 months to 8 months, and our students are making A stars. We are winning. We are winning country best award. What else do you think? Our students, you can type it on Google. Best search result in Nigeria. Type it in Google, you will see Erudite.
Saheed will come there.
Okay.
Go ahead, we'll come to that. When we consult Google, I'll give the result.
So best search result in Nigeria, you will see, if you just type best search result in Nigeria, you will see Erudite, because one of our students just last year scored 800 over 800 in search maths, and we prepared that student within 1 month. You can imagine, 1,500 plus. So what are we talking about? We are grooming young people in the tech world. Within 3 months, they are building applications, they are building websites, they are building weather forecast, and many other applications. Just show me other institutes where you can achieve so much within a short while in Nigeria. And that is why we are not just claiming to be the best. We are the best.
Is your word, and we'll take it.
Please. Please, people can feel free to contact me. You can contact me for anything.
Okay,
if you want my number, I can give my number.
Okay, Saheed, and that will be for another day. For now, this conversation has been driven by the phenomenon of mesoma. From that, we've come into the issues in our education system. We have also dwelt on the attitude of parents really to the educational movement of their children. Some of us glory in the achievement of our children to have left university at the age of 9, if it can be done. And maybe became professors at the age of 13, if it can be done. But it has its drawbacks, doesn't it? In the past 30 minutes, I've been conversing with Saheed Oladele. Saheed Oladele is the Chief Executive Officer of Erudite Millenium Limited. That name is, if you listen to it, it seems to sound like some people trying to go to moon or the Mars. Erudite Erudite Millenium, young people trying to go to the moon or the Mars, but incidentally, it is preparing our young people to achieve in the education sector. This conversation never stops. Week after week, we're on it. Saheed, thank you for coming to the conversation.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm glad to be here.
Great. My name never changes. It's Mwabuze Njoku. Good afternoon.